Greetings, good people. Welcome back to another episode of Leaders and Learners, where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. And today's conversation is a little uncomfortable, a little complicated, but absolutely necessary. Listen, Matthew Melvin, he made a bad decision, served time, and says the punishment went far beyond the sentence. His book, Bullied Behind Bars, forces us to confront what happens when identity, incarceration, and power collide. This isn't about excusing harm, it's about examining who the power protects, who it brutalizes, and why accountability doesn't always mean justice. So, without further ado, welcome, Matt. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm thrilled to have you. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I want to get into what your thoughts are about today's current political climate, including how much Christianity has been put on the forefront of damn near every news article, every social opportunity, everything that's going on right now. Talk to me about that.
Christianity is unlike any other religion out there. It asks the human being to grow closer to God. Every other religion forces God upon the human being. And there's only one true God, and that's Jesus Christ. And we are in end times, and during these times, there's going to be a lot of turmoil. And it's really important that each individual finds God, because there's not much more time left.
What do you mean by that? Go a little deeper for me.
Well, we don't know when Jesus Christ will be returning. We never know the time and the date. So it's really important for each individual to repent of their sins and get aligned with God. And I use the analogy when you go to a car repair shop, you get your car aligned with the manufacturer. That is the same way with God. We as the individual, I have to get my life aligned with God. There is not a negotiation. It's 100% God, not so 90% obedience is 100% disobedience.
All right. Did you grow up as a Christian? Is that what the religion that led your household?
I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
I went to catechism school, served as an altar boy. I was a lukewarm Christian. And as the Bible says, Jesus will spit out lukewarm Christians. He either wants you to be hot or cold. He doesn't like the in between. And a lot of people are living their life in a lukewarm Christianity. And I did it for 35 years until I had a near-death experience in August 2015 where I was almost killed by an out-of-control driver. It was that moment that I turned my life over to God and stopped lying, stealing, being dishonest, and started living for Him.
So when you committed the crime and let's not dance around this, what responsibility do you still carry today that the book does not absolve you of?
I committed a crime. So every decision that I made has consequences. So you can choose the sin, but you can't choose the consequence.
Okay. You said your decision came from feeling cheated and disrespected. Where do you now draw the line between justification and rationalization?
There is no justification for breaking the law.
Okay. And how does that
I spent most of my life rationalizing anything.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up working at a car dealership, and I rationalized selling one of their cars because I was getting cheated out of my commissions. We as human beings can rationalize anything. That doesn't make it acceptable.
True. Well, looking back at this, was this about money or was it about control and feeling unseen?
It was never about the money. It was about feeling cheated, feeling taken advantage of. And I felt that way throughout most of my life. I was bullied throughout most of my childhood, and I was tired of other people taking advantage of me.
Okay. So, if I remember correctly, you and your attorney argued a mental health facility would better serve you instead of general population. In your view, what failed, the legal strategy or the system or both?
Both Judge Jeffrey Crawford and Bob Wolford both decided I didn't meet the criteria to get into the mental health court. If I had been allowed to go through the mental health court, I don't believe the second time I ended up in prison would have ever happened.
Okay. Wait, second time.
Yeah. So there was a first time in 2004 where I worked at a car dealership. They didn't pay me my commissions. I impulsively chose to sell one of their cars, got caught. That was the first time. That was 2004. Then in 2009, I couldn't pass a background check. I used other people's information. The government pursued me for 6 years and got a grand jury indictment against me.
Hmm.
If I went through the mental health court the first time and didn't pick up a charge, came out scot-free, wouldn't have a record, the second time would have never happened, Tanya.
Okay, I hear you.
Because I wouldn't have a record. I wouldn't have a record. That
But
was
now we're back to the accountability piece, right?
well, I'm saying that what I did wasn't right. I broke the law.
Hmm.
But if I had been allowed through the mental health court, I may not have a record today.
You were diagnosed with autism as an adult. How did that diagnosis change how you interpret what happened to you behind bars?
It gave me validation that I come to the world differently than other people.
Mm,
I process things differently. The impulsivity, which is the shadow of being on the autism spectrum and having Asperger's, never goes away. I have just now have the tools to be able to handle that better, where I didn't have the tools for 35 years.
You have spoken about being targeted for being gay, Christian, and a Trump supporter. What identity put the biggest target on your back and why?
I would say being gay.
Talk to me about that.
It's a very heteronormative environment, very macho environment. A lot of drugs are dealt, and I just didn't fit into any of that criteria.
I'm sorry. You're saying a lot of drugs are a part of being a Trump supporter?
No. There are a lot of drugs going on in an institution.
In the gay community?
No. In the institution, in the jail itself. A lot of drugs are being sold and consumed. I didn't fit that. I was different than everybody else.
Okay. Let me ask you, do you struggle with those three parts of your identity outside of the prison walls?
Oh, absolutely. No question. It's very, very challenging for me to find a men's group where guys are supportive because a lot of Christians want to condemn somebody for being homosexual.
Even if they're Trump supporting Christians?
Yes.
So how do you continue down a path that's unwelcoming and abusive of you?
There is no path that I'm going to go down that is going to be 100% supportive of me. What other people think of me is none of my business. I look to God for discernment, not to man.
Is there a space for you then where there is no abuse? Because it sounds like you are saying you're going to be abused, and no matter where, no matter what you choose your lifestyle to be.
Anything outside of the heteronormative box will be seen as different and more vulnerable.
Some listeners may struggle with separating sympathy for your trauma from disagreement with your politics, religion, or sexuality. Mostly politics, I believe, though. What do you say to those people who feel both at the same time?
I feel both in other situations as well.
Like what?
I ask them to welcome that and not try to pass judgment towards me.
Okay. Did your political beliefs about law, order, and incarceration change after living inside the system that you thought you
Absolutely,
were supported?
absolutely no question. I never realized how bad it was inside until I actually went inside. I didn't realize how damaging it would be coming out, how unwelcoming the society is towards convicted felons.
Okay. Do your political beliefs, are they still the same?
Yes, absolutely.
Even though those beliefs are still harmful towards you? I need you to help me understand this because I'm lost. I'm trying to understand how you wrote a book. First of all, I understand writing a book is hard because I've done it several times. Getting it published is hard. You wrote a whole book about your experience, nothing good. Let's be clear. However, you're still embracing a political view that is not supportive of you and everything you just wrote about. But
No
you're
political
still supportive.
view is going to be 100% supportive of me. I am autistic. I have Asperger's. I am abnormal, and
Mhm.
that is fine. I the Bible says what it means. It means what it says, and that's how I do life.
Mm, that has to be hard. It has to be hard to embrace something that you feel is not embracing you. Talk to me about that. I can't get past that. So I'm sure viewers are going to be like, help me get past that. You're embracing things that you're openly admitting are not supportive of you. Because you can choose to just not embrace it. You could choose to not embrace any of it. However, you're still saying I am being harmed by a certain view, a certain political view, a certain societal view, and I'm still embracing it because I need it. Do you feel like you
No,
need
I
to?
don't need it at all.
So
I
help me
believe
understand why you would write a book about some a very harmful period in your life, knowing that something was harmful to you and you still embrace it. I'm just asking you to make it make sense for me.
I don't know if it's going to make sense to you.
I'm listening. I'm, I'm
I
trying to understand.
Bible says what it means what it says, and that's how I do life. I don't sugarcoat things. I'm very direct. I'm very honest. I For 35 years I was living a very dishonest lifestyle. Now I serve God. So I don't look for affirmation from humans. I look for affirmation from God who loves me.
And is it that God that's telling you to continue to support Trump and that administration and political movement?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I received that. You survived sexual assault in prison. What is the hardest truth about prison rape that people refuse to acknowledge?
That it happens
No, I think we know it happens. We know it
and it
happens.
goes unreported. It happens more frequently than a lot of people think. And the
Mhm.
way it's handled in prison is very different than it's handled on the outside.
Did you feel more abandoned by fellow inmates or by the institution itself?
By the institution itself. Inmates don't generally care about other inmates.
No,
If
because
they're in their gang, there's a lot of gangs in prisons. If you're part of a gang, they may care, but
Survival inside often requires silence. What did staying alive cost you emotionally?
I was journaling my story, so I was not silent at all. I
Mm,
wrote a lot of grievances. That's why I went to 10 different institutions. I was never really silent.
okay. What did that look like for you on the inside?
I wrote over 100 grievances to hold the institution accountable for their actions. I wrote every day I was writing my story in journal entries. At one of the facilities, my journal entries were actually confiscated. I had to recreate them. So the institutions knew what I was doing and they were scared.
Okay. Well, did you see any movement on any of those letters that you wrote? Any of those grievances that you sent out?
No,
None? Nothing?
no. All they do is deny. That's the typical response. Deny it happened, blame the inmate.
Hmm. Some people will ask, why should we care when you brought this harm upon yourself? Why is that question dangerous in your view?
It shows a lack of empathy for a fellow human being that went through
Hmm.
a lot of trauma.
Okay.
And empathy is absolutely critical for human beings to have.
Do you, and I know you've said that you don't care what other people think, but do you worry that parts of your story will be used to advance political narratives rather than prison reform? Or
I
have you
don't
thought
worry
about that?
about no.
Not at all?
No.
Okay. Well, where do you think personal responsibility ends and institutional responsibility begins?
Personal responsibility begins with taking responsibility for one's action.
Hmm.
Institution responsibilities take means the institution takes responsibility for where they placed an inmate, knowing that the individual is going to be a target.
Yeah. I wrote a book of my own about some traumas that I went through as a kid. Those were things that I obviously didn't have control over. But one thing I do believe is even when trauma is not your fault, and recovery is your responsibility. What are you doing now to deal with your recovery?
I've joined men's groups. I'm sharing my story with other people. I want to get on TEDx stages to share my story, get my name out there,
Hmm.
and to talk to youths that are engaging in low level crimes, such as marijuana use, that if it's not curtailed, it will accelerate.
Hmm. How's your family feel about all this?
They don't like it at all. They
Which
feel
part of
like
it?
the entire part of it that I'm putting my story out there
Mm. Are
and
you
get.
close to your family?
I am somewhat close, closer than I was a long time ago.
Hmm. Are they also Trump supporters?
Some are and some aren't.
Okay. Are the ones that aren't supportive of you?
To some extent.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
I think they lack the empathy portion.
Okay. And how does that make you feel?
It's hard, but I don't look for affirmation from human beings. I look for affirmation from God.
I hear you. Listen, if policymakers were forced to read one chapter of Bullied Behind Bars, which would it be and why?
I think it would be the first part, where I grew up, how I grew up, being bullied, my childhood. I think that's the real guts of my story.
Okay. What would you like to see lawmakers do with that information? Like what change? What kind of impact are you trying to make here?
More mental health assistance, not warehousing individuals that have mental health and have committed nonviolent crimes in an institution that's very, very violent.
Okay. If the system treated you exactly the way you were treated, but it happened to someone that you fundamentally disagree with, would you still call it justice?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Before this happened, before you were incarcerated, and I want you to be honest with me, if someone else was telling you this story, would you have sympathy and empathy for them?
Oh, I would. Yes. I've always had empathy and sympathy.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have two brothers.
Are you guys close?
We are not really close. No.
How's that feel?
It's hard. My brothers both have an alcohol addiction.
Are they close to each other?
Yes.
That has to be hard for you to watch.
It is, but they have more in common than I do with them. I'm a Christian. They're not. They're heavily into sports. I'm not.
Okay. Are they also Trump supporters, Republicans?
One is and one isn't.
And they get along?
They do to a degree, but I saw them fight on Thanksgiving Day, so anything's possible.
That's the part of the story I need more on. Okay, I love it. Listen, Bullied Behind Bars is available at bulliedbehindbars.com. Where else can they get it?
I'm on Amazon. You can follow me on Instagram, Bullied Behind Bars, Bars
Okay.
Bullied on X, Matthew.melvin.5621 on Facebook. You can email me, bulliedbehindbars@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts. Happy to have a conversation. Reach out to somebody. Don't stay silent.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. Listen, guys, subscribe, rate, and review Leaders and Learners. We do want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. This conversation doesn't end here. Drop your thoughts. Discomfort means we're doing something right and talking about complex issues. We have to continue the dialogue and see who controls the narrative. All right, until next. Hey, thanks for showing up to the podcast where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. When you get a sec, take a moment, leave a comment. What you think about today's episode? And share it with someone that you know could use the gems that were dropped today. Follow and subscribe. You don't want to miss who's coming up next. You never know who could show up here and what they could say. For your professional needs, marketing, PR, communications, or leadership, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Sand and Shores or hit us up at sandandshores.com. Again, thanks so much for showing up. We appreciate you and we'll see you soon.